Hi everyone, my name is Diipa Khosla. I'm the founder of Post for Change, and today we're going to be hosting an incredible roundtable discussion with some incredible content creators from across the globe. We're talking about Bollywood movies and Bollywood songs and the way that they have affected us and how they have made us come to accept gender roles in our life. This video is a collaboration between my foundation, Post for Change, and an initiative by the United Nations and the EU called the Spotlight Initiative.
Hi, I'm Shahrazad Shroff. I've been a content creator for I think about 8 years now, and there's a lot I feel that has changed, especially when we think of the things we grew up watching and thought were normal, as opposed to today, where we're like, oh my god, how is this normal?
Hi, I'm Ami Desai. I am first generation American Indian, and I am a digital content creator over here. I'm also a mom to 3 small children.
Hi everyone, I'm Shabani Bafna and I'm a second generation Indian American, also based in the US. And I grew up obsessed with Bollywood, over the top love stories that I was like, that's my dream.
And
I wanted him to make the first move and do all that kind of stuff. So I definitely think that those things were, whether or not they were more learned or subconsciously kind of further deepened by Bollywood or Hollywood, I think that they were both still things that I felt. But now having a daughter, it's something that I'm like, listen, if you want this, you go after it. Like, you make it happen. I still think, like, for me personally growing up, that was something I wanted. And I don't know if that was entrenched in me because of that.
Yeah.
I would agree. I think I similarly was like, this is how I want this old school romance, and these are the different steps. And I think the communication aspect was really important, that I feel confident and strong enough to like voice what I want and make the first move, for example. But I think in general, certain like gender roles career-wise, like what women should be doing versus what the guy is doing versus the guy asking my parents for my hand in marriage, and a lot of that, even I would say arranged marriage conversation of like, oh, like this is the girl and this is her family, and a lot of it was marriages are not between two people, it's between two families.
Like the most asked, I think, thing on DM for me every day is, how did your parents accept a white guy? Of course, they expect for you to have a answer that can help them, but most times I feel like it's also that upbringing of the way your parents have raised you. And mine, the way they raised us was very, very open-minded. And yes, they would have loved if I would have had a Punjabi guy, and they would have, the characteristics of a Punjabi guy that my mom and dad loved, the whole party animal and the crazy bhangra and everything. But the funny thing is that it's family, like you guys said, and role models shape you a lot too. And yes, Bollywood has a impact on it, but then you get the better of your thoughts and your upbringing, and then you decide accordingly.
It used to be like, bring your boyfriends home or whatever you want to do in front of us, or go party, call your friends over, whatever. So I think for someone like me, it was just like, okay, yeah, you watch it for entertainment or you watch it for the songs. And as I said, as I grew older, I just felt like I couldn't relate to it anymore because it wasn't like my lifestyle, like my actual lifestyle. As a kid, I think it was a really popular song, and I think we all sang it, and it was this catchy tune, and everybody was like, oh yeah, it's so normal. But today when you hear it in context of what we're talking about, we realize how wrong it is.
I think for me, I grew up loving Bollywood. I love the dancing aspect of it. So I just want to learn the dance moves and, like sing along and not even know what you're singing along. And I think it's only now when I think songs have come out like a Beyonce Sharma Jayegi that I think songs like that probably 10 years ago also existed, and they all still exist. But it's only now I think that conversation is happening and people are realizing, where is that line drawn?
I remember one of my first questions was, Mom, I don't understand. How come the girls dress in these really tiny crop tops? We wear these lehengas that are really revealing, or saris, and then they're not allowed to kiss on screen though. Why is that? And she was just like, that's just not what we do. We're not allowed to do that. And I said, but isn't that kind of giving off the wrong impression? I remember I asked this when I was specifically a teenager, 13 years old, and I wanted to wear a midriff to school. And she said no. And I was like, how come I can't do that, but I can wear these backless tops when I go to garba or I do other things. And she's like, that's just the way it is.
I remember as well, like growing up, if I would have a objection to something or want to ask my mom or grandparents or something, they just have the answer, that's just the way it is. I'm like, come on, you didn't raise me to go to the best schools in the world and to like be like educated and question everything to then give me that answer and expect us to be okay with it. Yeah.
It stems from this almost miseducation, because we choose not to talk about it. You know, whether you're in India or whether you're an Indian American or South Asian living in the States, we choose not to talk about it a lot, especially the female sexuality or sexuality in general. And so it's either one of those things where you're allowed to watch it for entertainment purposes, but when it comes to the woman herself, like in real life, trying to own that sexuality, it's completely you're villainized for it, or it's like we don't talk about it until after you're married and once you start having kids.
Scene was he gifted her a sari, and then she was like, "Oh, why did you buy such an expensive sari?" And he slaps her, saying, "Don't ever ask a husband where he gets his money from.
You should grab it like a dog grabs a biscuit.
Accept gifts like a dog. Like I'm giving you a bone, just accept it like a dog." And then the scene before that, of course, was him saying, "Hindustani women don't act like that. White women do, but you're not white, so don't act like that." And he slaps her and not the men.
And he also said it's her fault, right?
Yeah, that's
He slapped her.
He says it's
What would you say to all those aunties and uncles who do have these traditional mindsets to try and change their mind? What can you do yourself as well?
Like, I think those kinds of conversations are a great gateway to change, and also just progressive, having a progressive mindset, but in a good way that's hopefully going to change the narrative overall.
So I think there's a lot of those things which I feel like if the older generation is a little more accepting and giving the younger generation that confidence, or the younger women rather, that confidence to dress how they want to go live their dreams, to work, to marry the guy of their choice at the time of their choice, all of those things, I feel that would definitely change, because I feel a lot of young women feel like they're kind of stuck, because they're stuck between family and society and who they actually want to be.
And we see these things happening about many different social movements online, and we tag it and we add it to social media, but the generation that needs to see it, the people who are sitting on WhatsApp forwards, the people that don't necessarily understand this woke knowledge or not going to really understand the Instagram post, I think being able to communicate that in Hindi or using words or comparisons that they can digest and understand, in my opinion, that's a way, or at least a step in the right direction to get that information to the people who need to hear it.
Absolutely. And I think, personally as well, you guys know, of course, Post for Change, that's what we're all here. But having, the whole slogan of Post for Change is social media for social change, and social media being such a force where women can almost directly talk to women without male interference is such a beautiful thing. And I think using your platforms as content creators, as influencers, to create that change, to speak about it, to raise these topics, I thank the three of you so much for using your voices always. I think that was one of the reasons also you guys were chosen for this conversation, was because I've seen you do it so actively, so organically for so long, that it's such a part of who you guys are. And so it's been an honor to speak with you today.
Hopefully you enjoyed that video a lot and it gave you so much food for thought. If you would like to get involved, please go check out Spotlight Initiative's website, linked below, and get involved, and please comment below what your thoughts were and how Bollywood affected your life.